So I'm doing things a bit differently this time around. This is Sarkaz Only Integrated Strategies 2 Ending 3. The difference is that I'm recording my commentary post-clear. This lets me speed up the footage and focus my commentary on the moments that truly need it. The one thing I'll say going into this is that I do get pretty lucky early on, as you'll see, but we'll talk about everything as the situation, or as the clear progresses. I get pretty lucky here in a few ways. I get Meteorite pretty early on, so she and W clear through most of the stages with ease. I get Proof of Friendship as my collectible. I get the IS2 Ending 3 node very early, which was constantly a pain. And then last thing I get is the physical dodge plus the 50 medic attack speed. This will be really important for Purifier later, because she really benefits from the extra attack speed. But other than that, the first few floors are very straightforward. There's not a lot of difficulty here, because W and Meteorite just mop the floor with everything, so I'll let that speak for itself. I debate whether I should do this stage since I don't have Mudrock, but I decide, one, I want to do it for the lore, and two, I have W, so I can have a bit of fun with it, as you'll see here in a bit. I really do love doing this stage. It's a shame that it doesn't come back in IS3, but yeah, pretty straightforward stage in all honesty. There's one other stage on this floor that I want to talk about, and we'll get to that in just a bit. So this was the first time I had ever played the stage. As you'll see with my midnight placement, I didn't really know what I was doing. Pretty straightforward stage though. I think all of the new stages they added in Ending 4 of the Ending 4 update I think they're pretty straightforward, not much difficulty to them. In this case, for this particular stage, all you need to do is take an AoE cat or an AoE sniper and just nuke everything, as you see me here doing with W. Just enough AoE and it basically wipes the floor with the whole map. So, pretty straightforward stage. I just felt like it was interesting that this was the first time I happened to play it. The duck does fool me a bit here, I will say, because I thought the duck would only pause once at the tile you'll see here. Or actually, I didn't think the duck would pause. But then, obviously, duck runs upper right, and I kill him anyway. I can't get the caster or the specialist or the supporter relics since I don't have any there aren't any Sarkaz specialists or supporters, but I do get Purifier here, which will be very good for later on. You've all probably seen this floor boss by now. There's not really a lot to talk about with him. It's just, keep an eye on Purifier's damage throughout this stage, because with the attack speed relic, it really starts to ramp up. At this point, we're locked into Ending 3. Here I want to get Blade Dance, but because I'm a moron, I get White Flower by mistake, because I forgot the relic names. This actually works pretty well, though, because the thing about Sarkazknights, obviously, is that a lot of ranged units in Mudrock have very high DP costs, so if we can swap those DP costs with Vigna and Midnight, it makes certain stages a lot easier. On this stage, for instance, you see that Meteorite has gone down to 16 DP cost, which makes this stage a lot easier. You'll see this throughout the clear. The randomized DP costs really come into play. I get pretty lucky with the 70 attack speed sniper relic here. Other thing to note is that this stage, Traveler from Afar emergency ops, is really difficult for me. Originally, what would happen is I would have to put a medic on the bottom center tile, as you'll see, or as maybe you saw it in my previous clears. But point being, I used to have to put a medic down there and then 2 snipers on the top to try and kill the evocator leaders in time. So, but now, as you'll see, Hibiscus the Purifier makes things a lot simpler. Her damage is really good, and she has a very strong... Her skill set is very catered to this stage, because she can heal the middle lane while dealing damage in the top lane. And this means that also 11 DB cost W, which is very nice. All of it comes together to mean that this stage is a lot easier than it used to be, and I mainly attribute that to Purifier being really good when it comes to just, again, dealing damage while healing at the same time. She's the best of both worlds in this stage, which is a relief given the limitation of range tiles. This is another new stage that was added in the update. This one is a lot simpler in my opinion, or even simpler somehow. You just nuke the guerrilla leaders or the communicators on the bottom left, and then you set up a choke point on the upper right. Not a lot to say about it except that in this case I put Mudrock a tile too far to the left, and this costs me the ingot chest as you see there, but hindsight 2020. Pretty simple stage overall. I think Biting Cold is the stage I hate the most in Integrated Strategies 2. And the reason I say that is because I still don't really know how to solve this stage per se. It's very awkward in what it asks you to do, and it leads to the point where I feel like the only solution I can think of would be to have a therapist medic on the right, and then some units that can really tank on the center melee tiles, but in general, I don't really know what to do to solve this stage because it feels like your operators are going to get frozen no matter what, and that makes things very awkward, but with enough life points and margin, you can squeeze through without much issue. Eight cost W is just really funny to me. That's an example. Also, the 13 cost Surtr, the 15 cost Purgatory, 19 cost Mudrock. This is basically White Flower at its best, as a relic. One thing that I'll note about this stage is that, as you see, Purifier takes a lot of damage, and it actually ends up killing her in the long run, because the thing about her is that while she's very effective at what she does, her healing is very situational. So in the wrong circumstances, like here, if you don't play your cards right, she can and will die, which is very unfortunate, but it's fine. W is very, as I mentioned, W is very strong on this stage, because she can, her stuns come into play quite a bit. Sadly, no Storm Eye on this, no Storm Eye in this clear, which is unfortunate. I get more of the Sniper Relics here to really buff W and Meteorite up. I also get Ifrit here, and there's a good Ifrit tile and in Phantom Stage, as you'll see here in a second. But Phantom Stage is pretty straightforward. It's just making sure to nuke him at the red boxes while also keeping things relatively under control. As long as Phantom doesn't start to break the roadblocks, you're pretty much set. Plus, with the combination of Purifier and Surtr, Phantom gets melted pretty quickly. This is the first and only time, I mess up with the midnight placement, this is the first and only time I have ever seen Purgatory skill 2 be effective. Because I have never seen a situation where the range, the unique range, would actually come into play. But as you saw there, it was actually the difference between basically life and death, because of the way in which it managed to squeeze out the kill on Phantom at the very end. So yeah, I just feel like it's very fascinating. That's the first and only time I've actually seen Purgatory skill 2 be worth it. So I'm glad that I used it here. I get Scout's scope here, which is pretty tragic, all things considered. The lore kind of speaks for itself, but not much to buy at the shop. The thing here that I find very interesting is that I end up getting... Usually what happens is I get Ursus Desire, which is a total pain, and very difficult to clear overall because of the way it's set up. But instead, the lore completes itself, and I get Sarkaz Desire. This is actually, I feel like, the third time I've gotten this stage in, like, dozens of runs of integrated strategies. And it's a pretty straightforward stage. I don't really feel like there's much going on in it that really poses a threat. I just find it interesting how kind of the lore completes itself, all things considered. Now we get to the puppet, and the thing about the puppet is, what I've learned is essentially you want as much multi-target as possible. And the reason you want multi-target is, ideally you want to kill as many teddy bears as quickly as you can to force out the puppet's second stage and then to kill him as soon as you can. I feel like Sarkazknights is pretty well suited for this. Surprisingly, I didn't expect it to be this straightforward, but thankfully you have Meteorite, W, Purifier, Ifrit. They all have multi-target, which makes it very easy to dispatch of the puppets. Ultimately, it's just a very clunky stage inherently, which means that while it is possible, it's a bit awkward in the overall setup and the execution. Also, the 6-cost Meteorite is just... it never gets old. And that's pretty much the clear. Just bring multi-target and you're good to go. I'm really satisfied with how Purifier worked in this clear, as well as the White Flower Relic. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how things went. Obviously, I'm gonna do Ending 4 as well, once I can get the encounter RNG to work. But other than that, pretty straightforward clear. Just play your cards right, and remember that AoE snipers are very good when they're buffed to high heaven. Other than that, though, pretty straightforward. I do intend on doing Integrated Strategies 3 as well, but obviously we'll get to that when we get to that. But that's it for now. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you later.